disagreements and differences of opinion and arguments are inevitable in a marriage, and we all have different ways of handling these. And we need to understand, first of all, how we handle things as individuals and how we respond to conflicts, and then also how our spouse responds to those challenges. So my own reaction, as I think I've shared already, has been kind of an ostrich reaction. Whenever there's a conflict, I like to stick my head in the sand and wait until it all goes away. But that hasn't proved to be very effective in my life. So I grew up in a family that tended to avoid difficult conversations or conflicts in general. And so I never saw my parents fighting when they were when I was growing up. So my father and mother informed me that they did have disagreements and fights, but I never saw that. And that was a good thing in some ways, because it was a very peaceful kind of childhood, and I felt very secure in that relationship, that they were always together, they always supported each other. And if I asked my father for something, he'd always say, go and ask your mother. And if I asked my mother, she'd say, go and ask your father, so they were always on the same page about things. But it did not prepare me for marriage, because I was married to a very fiery Italian woman. And so the first time she started getting angry and upset, I felt completely overwhelmed, and I just didn't know how to handle it. And I felt like the whole world was falling apart, and I didn't know how to fight fair. So
that's his excuse. He's sticking to it. All right. Yeah. So
yeah. For your turn.
Yeah. So as we went out on a walk today, we were talking about this because as Alfonsina and Tony know, we Italians express ourselves. But I was thinking that, there are two ways in which we express ourselves. You can do it as a reaction, or you can do it as a response. And I think that learning how to mitigate these two was very important for me. The good thing was that in our relationship, he only knew what was going on with me because of my expression. But with him, I never knew. I never knew how he was really feeling. And in a sense that doesn't help in creating trust between the two of us. So, we used to be, I still like to this day, if there is conflict, or if there is something that we don't agree, I like to resolve it quickly, because I don't like to hold on to resentment. I'm always reminded of what Jesus said, if you don't forgive and don't resolve your disagreements, you are actually not removing the rope around your neck. So for me to forgive and to solve anything that disagrees either with my husband, children, or anybody is extremely important. And it's a timely thing too, because the more you linger, the more you wait, the bigger the problem becomes. But I've also learned that there is a timing to everything. And sometimes for me, it's really important to invite God in the response and ask God, what is your viewpoint? Why did my husband say that? What were the circumstances that kind of forced him to say that, or cause for him to behave in a certain way? So that invitation for God to be present makes a huge difference in the way we relate with each other and we help one another. So, there have been times that you have come to me, if I know you're angry with me, would you like to talk? And I said, I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready, because the moment I want to have the conversation, I have to be at peace. I have to be at peace with God. I have to be at peace with myself before we can resolve it. So we will learn different tools here on how to do this, right?
Yes.
And the beautiful thing about all this is that it's applicable not just with your spouse, but we do, if we have children, we are constantly providing an example to our children. And we have children who get along really well, are very respectful. Don't remember them ever being in conflict. And whenever there was something, we help them resolve things peacefully and beautifully so that the relationship was never broken.
I am amazed actually at my children because I think they're much better at handling conflict than I am. They they know and they know how to get around my wife so well and get what they want.
Well, that's what you think.
This is
Okay.
true.
Anyway,
But yes, so just in conclusion, I think handling conflict is a tool that you use every day in your life, in no matter where no matter where you are. So within my work environment, within a church environment, within the social environments that we travel in, we always need to know how to resolve these difficulties and to deal with people. And sometimes it's a soft against hard kind of approach, where if somebody's really upset and angry, you need to have that soft approach. And then sometimes if somebody is upset and they're kind of withdrawn and withholding themselves, you also need to know how to bring them out and to draw out whatever's inside so that you can resolve those issues. And I think that's one thing I really admire about my wife, is that she does not let those those disagreements and the angry things go on for days and days, or sometimes for years. So she wants to resolve it, whereas many people allow them to fester and grow, and they kind of build up over time. And then they become so much harder to deal with in the end, because it's built up over many, many years. So let's stop the sharing here, and then we will get right into our video. And it's not like, okay, yes, my feet are really sweaty too. No. It's because we got this heater down here and it's really hot.
it's so embarrassing.
So I hope you all resolved some conflicts during this session. And if you didn't, I hope you at least learned some lessons in how to do that. Yeah, did you want to share something?
Nope. I think
okay. No, there was one thing here that really struck me again for the first time. It says, we're not incompatible unless we refuse to change. And I think this whole idea that people have in society that we're incompatible, they try and they work things out, and they try and work things out for a little while, and then it's like we're incompatible, but that's because we're not flexible. We're not really willing to change ourselves in order to match to our spouse and to become a partner to our spouse. And I think that the idea that, I am who I am, you take me who I am, and if you don't love me the way I am, then goodbye. That has become a real barrier to people actually learning how to love, how to grow, and how to become better people. So every day we need to look inside ourselves and see, what can I do a little better? How can I change? How can I become a more loving and a more caring person?
Yeah. And also, I think one thing that is important for me is every day it's a choice. Every day it's a new way that I can love my husband. So every day I wake up, and I wake up with this desire in my heart to look at the good things. So, there's so many things that could annoy me, but then I ask myself, what is really important? Or what is really important? And it's a choice that I personally make every day. because that's how we choose to love. It's every day, not once a week or every now and then.
Yes, that's right. So thank you very much for joining us again tonight. And there is
You
a
need to do your
continuing
assignment.
conversation on pages 50
54,
and
55,
55.
54, 55.
Yes. And then next week we talk about the power of forgiveness. So thank you very much, everybody. And good night, or you can stay on and talk a little more if you like.
And have a great week.